And so yeah, I'm sitting in the doctor's office, and they're basically telling, like, they come in and saying like, we're almost positive you experiencing anxiety. Like, they're asking me all these questions, um, and at that point I'm just like, there's no way, like, you can't tell me what I've been feeling the past like 4 weeks has been anxiety and like just that, because I had never thought about it like that though. Like, I didn't know what mental illness was. I didn't know, I really didn't know anything at that point. So um, even at that point they were telling me, I still didn't believe them, just because when you're in that state, it's like you're still so worried. So they ended up um, they ended up prescribing me medication. Um, they even asked my mom what, because my family, my mom has been, my mom has dealt with similar things. My sister has dealt with almost the same exact thing I've dealt with. So it's something that kind of has ran in my family. So yeah, like I said, there was a month where it was like my second semester of college, where it was like probably the hardest thing I had ever experienced up to that point, right? Um, but I would say maybe 2 or 3 weeks after I'd started taking the medication, um, I felt like a million times better. Um, I know medication and like things. There's a lot of misconceptions, and it has a bad rap. And even up to even at that point, I was like, I felt kind of not guilty, but I kind of felt disappointed that had to take medication. Just because, I mean, I don't know. It's like you never want to. You feel like you don't need it, or like, I honestly felt like I didn't want anybody to think any less of me, or like think something was wrong with me. Um, but I can definitely say like it helped me get out of that place, and I hadn't felt that I guess that good in a while, and so I genuinely had like a more positive outlook on life, and I can say like 5 to 6 months after that had happened, after I was on medication and stuff, it was probably like um, some of the best moments in my life, just because I felt confident, I felt positive, like I felt just overall just more optimistic about things, and I started paying attention more in school, and like I just felt like I just from that experience, I never wanted to go back to that. So I felt like I did a lot of things. I put a lot of things in place in my life to ensure that would never let it get to that point again, if that makes sense. Um, so yeah. Anyways, long story short, we're here in 2020, and I think I had changed my major like 2 or 3 times at that point. And then even though like I still didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, I knew I wanted to travel for sure, because you guys were already doing your thing. I think you were for sure had been posting already. Um, I initially wanted to study abroad, but that wasn't an option for me just because of COVID. Um, and so yeah, during the pandemic, I remember we had this, and mentally, I think for the pandemic for me was very good. I think for a variety of reasons. I think a lot of people can relate actually, just because I don't know. I'm sure you can relate, dude. Like things kind of slowed down. We kind of relate to that, where it's like it felt like you were able to put a lot of things in perspective in your life and just kind of figure out what you wanted to do.
Definitely.
Um, so I had felt that, and at this point, I was able to come off medication, which I was genuinely like, for some reason, like I said, like, I don't think medication's a bad thing, but for myself, I think I didn't want to be on it forever. So I had gotten to a place in 2020 during the pandemic where I didn't have to take the medication anymore. I was the best I've ever felt mentally, physically, and um, that's when you guys had came back, and basically we had all this footage from a cruise that we had taken in for my graduation like a couple years earlier. And then I don't even know how it went, dude, but you were like, just like make your first video using this footage. And then I remember, you remember that night where you just like literally just gave me a little lesson on that. Do you want to check the light really quick, dude? It's kind of dim in here. Yeah. So yeah, I ended up making this little cruise video that I still have, and I think it's uh that night, dude, was like, I swear to God, like it was since I started, since that moment, I was like, I could not. I was hooked. I don't know exactly what it was about it, but I guess it was just how everything came together, and like I was able to tell a story and just the music, everything about it. And I remember that night I couldn't sleep because I was just thinking about finishing the video. I can say it was probably, besides basketball, because I played basketball. It was probably the most thing I the thing I've been most passionate about in my entire life. Basically, the entire story I told you is what was my first video, just kind of all condensed. I kind of talked about everything I had went through, and I released it on YouTube. You were definitely a big part in that, because like, I don't know, it's something very. I mean, I'm at my most vulnerable state talking about this type of stuff, so I think you encouraging me to like make a video about that, and definitely something within myself where I was like, it just feels like I said, like it just felt right to do so. And when that first video I released, the amount of like optimism and just feedback, and just the amount of people that reached out to me, first of all saying like how inspired they were from my own story, but like they were telling me about some of the things they dealt with, and it was just like, I feel like this can be a really good thing. Like I want to keep doing this, and it was the first time that I genuinely felt like very fulfilled, and ever since then, I think that's why I've kept doing it.